Hi there, it's Claire from Papertrey, and today I'm going to show you how I made this card for the November 2015 Papertrey Ink blog hop. I'm going to start out with a piece of watercolor cardstock. This is from Canson. I'm just using watercolor cardstock here because I like how it blends, but you can use whatever cardstock you like best for blending. I'm stamping the base layer of this Chickadee stamp set from Papertrey Ink. This stamp set is Winter Woods, and it's a layering stamp set. So after I stamp the base layer, I also use the remaining ink to stamp it on Post-it notes so I can make a mask. I'm not stamping the second layer onto the card base itself because I want to stamp the second layer in black, and I have problems with black smudging when I do my ink blending. So to avoid that problem, I just stamp my second layer. I stamp all my black images, I stamp it after I've done my ink blending. So now that I've got that part of the bird masked off, I'm going to make my circle mask. And I'm just using 2 pieces of masking tape because I don't have any masking tape that's large enough to cover the area. So if you have a piece of masking tape that's large enough, then you can go for that. But to make sure that I position my circle perfectly over the bird, I like to take the circle die cut, so the positive from the die, and I like to place that over the bird and position it perfectly where I want it, and then I use that as a guide when I'm trying to place the negative, so the rest of the washi tape over that bird. And then I remove the circle and I can start my ink blending. I also mask off the other parts of the card to make sure I didn't get any ink in areas I didn't want it. So the mint color is Mint Julep from Hero Arts, and the turquoise color is Peacock Feathers from Tim Holtz. I do think that distress inks are the best inks for blending, in my opinion. So I think they smudge inks less than any other inks that I've tried do. So if you had like a minty color in distress ink, I'd probably use that for this project just because they seem to smudge less. And they're also easier to blend with, but I didn't have any mint in distress ink, so I just used the Hero Arts ink, which blends pretty well too, but it's not as smooth as the distress inks. So before I take off my bird mask, I'm stamping this tree image from the same stamp set, and I only wanted part of this branch, so I just used my masking tape to mask off the bottom part of the branch. Now that I have the branch stamped, I'm going to remove the mask and I'm going to stamp that second layer for the bird and also stamp his little legs. The reason that I kept the bird mask on for the branch was because I didn't want to make sure that any of the little sticks off the branch were poking into the bird. So now that that's all good, we've got our main scene set. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, and I will forewarn you from here on my hair makes a couple appearances. It just kept coming out of my ponytail, and I didn't notice it until later. But to go along with the birthday theme, I added some little music notes using a micron pen. Normally I would stamp these if I had stamps, but I didn't. I don't like to add my own handwriting or drawing to something because I'm worried it won't be perfect and it'll mess up everything I have already. But these were pretty simple, so even I wasn't worried about doing it. And then the black of the ink matched really well with the Hero Arts ink. So I'm taking a piece of pattern paper from a Dear Lizzy. It's one of the older collections. That's the gray polka dot, and then a piece of black cardstock. If you didn't have this pattern paper, you can use whatever pattern paper that you wanted to, but if you kind of wanted that gray with a little bit of white, you could just take a piece of gray cardstock and then stamp white ink on it or heat emboss white. So I'm going to take this panel that we made, and it's not as wide as a typical A2 card. And that's because I wanted these strips, I didn't want them to be adhered on top of the stamped panel. I wanted them to be level with the stamped panel. So I add the stamped panel, and then there's a little bit of area left over on the card, and that's where I adhere my black cardstock and then my strip of pattern paper. And I just trim off the edges. And I do round the corners too, just to kind of finish everything off there. So when I did my masking, my mask wasn't perfect. I was being kind of lazy. So just to get in those extra areas that didn't have the ink, I masked off a little too much. I just went in with the Fantastics and covered that up. So that's the card that we made today, or that I made today. And this is a second card. It just uses straight up peacock ink. I didn't add any of the mint julep, and didn't have any problems with ink smudging. So those are the cards, and if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them on this video, or you can leave them on my blog, and supplies are listed on my blog, and I'll try to list them on the video too. That's it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. God bless. Bye.